Welcome to part 4, Porsche Boxster rescue, restoration, get back on the road, whatever you want to call it. So, welcome back, and you'll see that the butt end of the Porsche Boxster is finally in the air, starting to look at the money side, seeing if we've got any catastrophic things happening back there, major oil leaks, etc, etc. Looking at the brakes, looking at the calipers, looking at the brake lines, looking at the spark plug housings, looking at the oil leaks, if there is any, hopefully not. Looking at the rear suspension. We'll do the same at the front. If you've watched the first 3 parts, I'm reasonably happy with the kind of top end of the car. The interior's looking pretty good. I do have potentially an upgrade to do with a new stereo in there. We've got new wipers to fit, we've got a headlight to polish, but in general, it's a lot more presentable than it was when I first got it, which is excellent, right? And we're going to look at the back end first, and we'll see, fingers crossed, if we've got any issues. Let's go and take a look. Oh, and I almost forgot, the last video we just surpassed 30,000 subscribers, which I know is pipsqueak territory compared to other YouTubers and stuff, but it's good for me. I love it. I think that's great. So thank you very much everyone for liking, subscribing and commenting. Keep commenting. I love having chats with people in the comments about cars and stuff. So that is a brilliant milestone for me to reach, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Alright, let's have a look. This is the driver's side butt area, and if you never jacked one of these up before, there's a really good place there just underneath the sway bar kind of housing bit, and there's a strut that goes up. You can jack up there and get the stands on the little points, no problem. So we've got the wheel off over there, need to get some new centre caps ordered. The tyres have got about 3 to 4 mil left, they're alright. Will do for an MOT. And the brake disc's got surface rust on it, but there's no lip. And once we start driving it, that will clear itself up because it's not been driven for quite some time. Suspension strut is looking a bit discoloured and stuff, but it is still solid, and the little weep holes are still okay. And we don't have any, we've got a little bit of discoloration on the spring itself, but nothing's fallen to pieces. There's no chips out the spring or anything. Like, brake lines are looking pretty decent. No rust bubbles, no nothing on them, but we'll give them a little sand down anyway. Calipers are looking pretty good. I've always wanted to paint these red, but we'll not be doing that before the MOT. And the actual brake lines and the calipers are looking pretty decent as well. There's no left to right movement or up and down movement. I did that when I had the wheel, when the car jacked up with the wheel still on it. We've got nothing wrong with any bushies. The sway bar bushy does look a little bit crusty, but there's no movement in it. So we'll see what the MOT tester says about that. But what I might do here is, everything's looking, you know, it's not too bad. And in terms of oil leaks from this side, this, when you can see, I don't know if you can see them, when you can read serial numbers on an engine block, you know you're doing pretty well in terms of oil leaks because you can actually see it. This is all pretty dry. I mean, if I can get my hand down there at the same time as this light, let's try put the light down there. I mean, it's just dirt, look. There's no oil residue there at all. If I rub that up against there, there's nothing. Right into the back, the bottom. There's actually no leaks from this side that are visible at all, and I know the main seal's right in there. So what I've done is I set up a bit of cardboard. I've had this piece of cardboard sitting under the car for about a fortnight now, whilst I've been working on it, whilst I've been starting the engine, whilst I've been jacking it up obviously, and I drove it in here and put that in straight away, and I haven't removed it yet. So why don't we do that now, and we'll see if there's any oil leaks that are drips, to be able to see them on that bit of cardboard. Alright, so let's see. Pull this out. And I genuinely haven't moved this for about a fortnight. What's that? I don't think that's an old stain. There's absolutely nothing, as dry as a bone. The flooring is clean as well, because I had it in for maybe a couple of days before I put the cardboard under. And that bit there was probably sitting at the wheel, so I need to have a check there and see if there's anything leaking or if that is an old stain, but I fully expected to see a big patch here. That is pretty good. Passenger side, caliper looking decent. You have brake pad wear sensors, a little bit wires exposed but not too bad. Caliper brake lines okay. They look pretty decent as well. No rust on them. Suspension arm, you know, it's not the nicest of colour, so do you know what I think I might do? I might get some Hammerite and just give these a nice coating, because they're still solid. There's nothing wrong with them, they're not rusted out. They just don't look the best. So I might give these a quick sand down and paint them with some Hammerite, which will bring them back to a nicer look. What else have we got here? Spray bar bushing. Yeah, that's not looking too clever. Not the best, but there's no movement in it. I gave it a push earlier on and there's absolutely nothing. I even brought it up with the jack and there was no movement, so nothing there. These lines are okay. Right, oil leaks on this side. What have we got? Well, you can still see that there's nothing dripping. I suspect there has been an oil leak in this car at some point, because there is a little bit of residue there. Let's have a look. That's a wee bit oily, a tiny bit, but there's nothing much. So that's not too bad. It could be one of the spark plug housings, but there's nothing dripping. There's no active leak for me to find, so maybe drive it a wee bit and see, but that looks pretty good. Let's have a look right underneath. Alright, so here we are right underneath. There's the oil filter housing, which looks pretty dry. And get your sump plug there right in the middle. There is maybe a tiny wee bit of glistening in the sump plug right there, which isn't a problem. We'll just get a new one of them and put a new washer on it. There are probably, you can see on the side of the oil pan there's a bit of blackness. There might have been an oil leak at some point. This car has been really well maintained compared to some other ones I saw. So I had a new water pump fairly recently. It's had a full service fairly recently, so you know, didn't expect to see complete chaos down here in terms of soakiness. But as you can tell, if I had this sitting here for a fortnight, we would have seen something by now. And I had the engine running for quite some time at one point, so we would have seen something. So it doesn't look as if we've got any active leaks to follow, which is excellent. And there's the, I can get you right up there, hold on. So that's pretty good as well, that's pretty dry. You're never going to get these 100% clean, even if it's leaked a tiny bit of oil years ago, it'll still be there unless someone's cleaned it all off. So this is pretty decent. And if we look up here, that labels, that's the suspension sticker that makes it look yellowy like that. Doesn't look the best, does it? I think we'll tidy that up. That's pretty easy to do, just to give it a better look. All the bushes are looking pretty decent. No cracks there. This one's been greased, so is that. A diff, what we got in there? Any oil leakage? Doesn't look like it. Looks pretty dry. Gearbox is back here. Pretty tough to show this GoPro, but there's nothing much exciting happening here, which is, you know, good news for the old wallet. Exhaust, yeah, might change that eventually, but we're looking not too bad. There's that jacking point I was talking to you about. So there's a big strut, vertical strut going up there, and you can jack right in there, just like I've done there, and it'll lift both sides of the car up, no problem. Just be careful though, when you're putting jack stands on, one side will be higher than the other. Just watch out for that, and if you're not sure what you're doing with jack stands, don't do it. Get someone else to do it that knows what they're doing, because it's too dangerous. So wheel arch wise, there's no rust, there's nothing. There's no rust there at all. There's a tiny wee bit of discoloration there, but absolutely nothing. Get the pressure washer in here and we'll give it all a good clean. But I am, well, pretty happy in terms of money and work, but you know, in terms of YouTube videos, I'm afraid there's not much to do back here, which is excellent. In particular about this messy area here. Not messy, but it's, I was thinking this was going to be very messy, but it's not too bad. Excellent. Now where's the timing thing? There's a timing chain tensioner somewhere on these that leaks. Let's just double check that, hold on. Alright, so timing chain tensioner's there. And again, it just looks like dry dirt. I can't see any active leaks coming out of there. There's no drips in my thing, and this oil filter housing is pretty dry. I think we're doing alright here. I don't think there's much for me to investigate at the moment. Keep an eye on it. If I drive it a few hundred miles and we have a little drip somewhere, we'll come back to this, but places to look for oil leaks are here at your filter if it's not tight enough. The tensioner bolt there, see that big bolt? Your sump plug and your spark plug housings that I showed you, and the rear main seal. And if it was dripping from the rear main seal, you'd be getting a leak coming from about here and splatting all over this, which I don't have. So we're looking pretty good. So I think what we'll do today is we'll tidy up these suspension struts and we'll give them a nice coating of hammerite and make them look almost new. So there's your before shot, right? Hold on. And then we'll show the after. Alright, so what I typically use on these is just some direct to rust metal hammerite paint. Get these in Halfords, no problem. About £8 a tin. And we'll just wire brush that as best we can, sand it down, and give it a lick of paint. Let's see how it looks. Alright, well, we'll see if you can see this from here. The light might flicker a little bit, but just give it a nice little sand in. Not too bad, these. They look worse than they are. Alright, and there is the after. Much cleaner, eh? Much nicer. And these are solid, and there's little drain holes there. So your paint's not going to cover the drain holes, you're alright. So, you could go ballistic in here and start doing absolutely everything and spray it down with lino guard and all that kind of stuff. But what we're going to do is, I'm going to jack the car up at the front, do the same at the front too. I won't bother videoing them. I'll just show you little clips. And then once the car's outside, we'll jack it up one corner at a time and we'll pressure wash all the wheel wells and make them look nicer for the Mr. MOT tester. Everything else in here, like I say, no oil leaks to look for. Brake lines are good, bushes are good, no movement with the suspension at all. You know, could we have won a watch for this car? Might be. Haven't checked the front yet, but this is the business end back here on this car. So cool, let's get the wheels back on and we'll go and jack up the front. Hey, look what I get to use. I love these things. If you've got cars like Mercedes do this, when the lug nuts are actually the screw part of the bolt, if you like, is into the wheel hub, whereas Ford don't, they've got the screws sticking out. So you get one of these things, you can put the wheel on, it's so much easier. Check this out. See, you find that? Yes! How good is that, eh? Absolutely superb. Oh dear! And you can screw in one of the wheel lug nuts without having to guess where they go. Superb. These are brilliant. This came with the car, by the way. I said this in part 1. I was very surprised that the full toolkit comes with this car. For anyone that's interested in purchasing, it probably will be up for sale in a few weeks' time, probably. Alright, so while we're waiting the front drying, I'm just doing a little job here on these tyres, which I've got about 6 mil of tread left in them. I'm just picking out all these little stones. Why not, eh? There we are. And because these tyres are pretty good. These tyres have, what do we see? What's that? That is 7 mil of tread. See that? 7. And if we go around the other sides, we are about 6.5 there. And on that side, about 6.5. So between 6.5 and 7 mil, so 6.5 mil. These have got good life left in them, so I'll pick out all of these little stony bits here and we'll pop these back on. Cool. Front, same story as the back. Nice little bit of black paint onto the rustproof black paint onto the suspension strut. General tidy up all around. Check the brake lines, all good at the front. I think there's actually a brand new brake line on this one that's going from the caliper up the way to the flexi hose, so that's pretty good. And yeah, we'll just do the other side as well. Cool. These alloys are in really good shape. I think these were recently resprayed because they're in excellent condition. Needs a little bit of a clean down here, so I've been mucking them up with my mucky paws. But in general, these are excellent. Don't need to refurb them, I'll just give them a really good clean with my autogaragelife wheel cleaner and get some new centre caps for them and we're good to go. A very couple of minor marks, but look at that, no curbing on them at all. They're excellent, excellent, excellent. And they're pretty lightweight actually. What size are these? These are 17s and the tyres are 205/50. And these are hand-cooked tyres, which are pretty decent. So yeah, excellent. I want to watch on these, didn't I? Because usually every time I get a car I've got to respray the wheels or get a new set, but these are pretty good and it looks like they've been resprayed professionally. Superb, excellent. Well, that's going to wrap up another video. Guess what? Next video, we're going to take this for its MOT. MD's watching from the States, and MOT is similar to your state inspection. Does the emissions, but also does everything else. Tyres, brake lines, rust, chips in the windshield, your screen wash fluid, any oil leaks, any suspension bush, play, travel, all that stuff gets checked. And if it fails, you need to get it fixed before you can put it back on the road. So what I'm going to do is book this in between now and the next video. Next video, we'll take you on a drive. We'll go to the MOT station and we'll see if we get a list of things we need to replace or repair before it can go back on the road. And if not, we'll then move on to some nice stuff. Like I've got a new stereo to fit in this that I'd quite like to do. So hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you once again, all 30,000 of you that have subscribed to the channel. It's brilliant. I love it. Let's see if we can get 30,000 more and we'll just keep going, eh? Thank you very much. Cheers.